It's amazing, isn't it? Just how fast AI has gone from like this future thing to something businesses are actually using every day.
Yeah, totally. I mean, we're not just talking about what AI could do anymore.
It's happening now.
We're seeing real changes happening.
Right now. And the insights from Nvidia's GTC, the one from 2025.
Yeah.
Bain and Company, they analyzed it.
Uh-huh.
It's really interesting stuff.
It really highlights how things are shifting. I mean, the whole conversation around AI, it feels different now.
Yeah, it's not so much, oh, what if AI does this or that? It's more about what we're actually seeing happening.
In companies, in how they work.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so that's what we want to dig into today. For you listening, we're going to break down Bain's analysis of what happened at GTC.
Give you the key takeaways, what's actually important for businesses.
Right. Because, let's be real, you're hearing about AI everywhere.
Constantly.
It's hard to know what's hype and what's, the real deal.
Absolutely. What actually matters.
So we're cutting through all that noise today.
We're going to focus on how AI is becoming like the core of how companies operate.
Infrastructure.
Exactly.
So let's get started. And you know what? We got to get with the basics. The foundation of all this AI stuff.
Data.
You got it.
The report, it makes it very clear. No data, no AI. It's simple as that. You need clean data, connected data.
Data you can actually access and use.
It's the basis for any successful AI, anything you want to do with it.
But here's what I found really cool.
Yeah.
AI is becoming a data generator itself.
Oh, yeah, that's a game changer.
It's like before, we were just feeding data to AI.
Right.
Now, AI's creating data. It's finding insights that were hidden before.
Like, think about all those customer service calls.
Uh-huh.
Buried in those conversations are operational patterns, the best ways to do things.
And decisions that are being made in real time.
Exactly. Stuff we couldn't see before, but AI can find it. And that new data, it's not just a side effect. You can actually use it, make it better.
Optimize it.
Create
Create what they call true data flywheels.
Right. It's like a snowball effect. You invest in AI, it creates more data, which makes the AI better, which creates even more data.
And it keeps going.
Yeah.
For anyone listening, that means even your initial AI projects can have this huge ripple effect.
Absolutely. And it's not just new data either. Generative AI, it's helping with all those old data problems we used to have.
Yeah, like what?
Remember how frustrating search and retrieval could be, trying to find the exact information you need?
Oh, tell me about it. Buried in files.
Now AI is making that so much easier.
Right, it's like having a superpowered research assistant.
Exactly. But it goes beyond that. Now you've got confidence scoring, which helps you figure out how reliable your data actually is.
That's cool.
And then there's synthetic augmentation.
Synthetic what?
Augmentation. It's where AI creates like artificial data to add to what you already have.
Oh, interesting. So even if you're starting with limited data, AI can help you build on it.
It's wild. So yeah, data is still crucial, but the way we interact with it and what we can do with it, it's changing completely because of AI.
Okay, so data is the foundation, but the AI itself is changing too, right?
Yeah, definitely. We used to think we'd have these giant all-purpose AI models that could do everything.
Right, like one AI to rule them all.
But now things are moving in a different direction.
More specialized, right?
Exactly. We're seeing smaller, fine-tuned systems that are built for very specific tasks.
So instead of one giant universal remote, you've got a dedicated remote for each device.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. You've got one for your TV, one for your sound system, and so on.
So what's driving this shift?
Well, there's some really cool technical advancements, things like quantization and pruning.
Okay.
And then there's retrieval augmented generation, which we usually just call RAG.
RAG, okay. I'm guessing these are pretty technical, so what does it all mean for, the average person?
The bottom line is these techniques are making AI much more efficient.
So it can do more with less.
Exactly. And without losing performance. Think of Aragog like giving the AI a cheat sheet. Instead of having to memorize everything, it can quickly look up relevant information.
Oh, I see. From your own data sources.
Right. Just before it needs to answer a question or complete a task. It's like having all the answers at its fingertips.
That makes it more accurate too, right?
Way more accurate. And it means you don't need those massive training data sets anymore.
So that makes AI more accessible too.
Exactly. And because of these efficiencies, we're seeing more companies doing model fine-tuning and even self-hosting their AI.
What does that mean, self-hosting?
It means they're running the AI on their own servers instead of relying on the cloud.
Oh, interesting. What are the benefits of that?
Well, it gives them more control. They can make sure that AI aligns perfectly with their specific needs.
I can see how that would be important.
And then there's lower latency. Since the processing is happening locally, the responses are much faster.
No waiting for the cloud to catch up.
Right. And then there's privacy, which is a big deal for a lot of companies. They can keep their sensitive data and their AI models within their own infrastructure.
So it's all about control, speed, and security.
Exactly. But there's a catch, as the report points out.
What's that?
All this control and self-hosting comes with its own set of challenges. There's a lot of complexity involved that most companies aren't quite ready for yet.
It's not just plug and play.
No, not at all. Managing and maintaining these specialized self-hosted AI models requires a whole different set of skills and infrastructure than just using a cloud-based AI.
So it's a trade-off. More control, but more responsibility.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've talked about data and models. Let's move on to something even more exciting.
AI that can actually do things on its own.
Agentic AI.
It's like the next step in the evolution, right?
Yeah, totally. We went from AI helping us find information to AI assistants that could perform tasks.
And now we're talking about AI that can act more independently.
But, the idea of fully autonomous AI agents, ones that can handle complex tasks all by themselves, that's still pretty rare.
So it's still mostly a future vision.
For now, yeah. And one of the biggest roadblocks is figuring out how to evaluate the accuracy of what the AI does.
Oh, right. Because if the AI is making decisions and taking actions on its own,
you need to be sure it's doing the right things.
Aligning with your goals.
Exactly. You got to be able to trust it. And that brings us to a really important point the report emphasizes. Structure matters.
Structure.
Yeah, when it comes to building agentic AI systems, you need to think about things like transparency.
So you can understand how the AI reached a decision.
Right. And then you need clear escalation paths. Like what happens if the AI runs into something it can't handle?
Who does it call for help?
Exactly. And then there's the need for redundancy and guardrails. You don't want one small error to cause a whole cascade of problems.
And of course, you need to be able to trace what the AI does and audit its actions, especially when it's running in a live environment.
It's all about bringing a level of predictability and control to this powerful technology.
So while we might dream of fully autonomous AI agents someday,
for now, the reality is more about semi-autonomous systems. AI that works alongside humans, not replacing them entirely.
Augmenting human capabilities.
Precisely. And there are tools out there to help with this. There's Nvidia Agent IQ, for example.
And we're also seeing companies developing their own agent orchestration platforms. That shows how important this is becoming.
It's all about managing these AI agents effectively.
Okay, so agentic AI is still evolving, but there's another area where AI is moving from concept to reality pretty quickly.
Digital twins and simulation.
It's not just a fancy demo anymore, right?
Not at all. The report makes it clear that simulation has gone mainstream.
Businesses are using digital twins to model all kinds of things. Factories, stores, even entire supply chains.
It's like creating a virtual copy of something so you can experiment with it without any real-world consequences.
And it's having a real impact. Companies are rolling out new products faster because they've already worked out the kinks in the simulation.
They're taking less risk because they've identified potential problems in the virtual world first.
And they're making decisions with more confidence because they've got data-driven insights from their simulations to back them up.
It's really powerful stuff. And it's even changing how executives make decisions.
Oh, so?
They're starting to prefer virtual walkthroughs over actually visiting a physical location, especially now that these digital twins can incorporate real-time data.
Imagine that. Walking through a digital replica of your factory and seeing live performance metrics overlaid on top of everything.
That's the kind of insight that was never possible before.
So digital twins are definitely something to watch. Now let's talk about another source of data that's becoming incredibly valuable thanks to AI.
Video.
We used to think of video as just passive monitoring, right? Security cameras and things like that.
Yeah, but now with computer vision and video language models, video is becoming an active source of intelligence.
It's not just about recording what's happening. It's about understanding it.
AI is analyzing video in real time to extract all sorts of useful information.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Well, you can analyze customer behavior in a store to see how people shop.
Figure out their patterns.
Exactly. You can see how people interact with different products to see which ones are the most engaging.
And you can use video to monitor safety and compliance in all sorts of environments.
Even prevent accidents by detecting potential hazards before they happen.
That's amazing. And all of this is impacting how businesses make decisions.
Absolutely. It's changing how they approach merchandising, labor planning, even the layout of physical spaces.
They're creating smarter, more responsive environments.
All driven by data from video.
That's really cool. So we've talked about all these exciting uses of AI, but how are companies actually building and deploying these capabilities?
Well, one big trend is a shift towards buy rather than build.
You mean using off-the-shelf tools instead of building everything from scratch?
Exactly. And this is especially true when it comes to LLMOps.
LLMOps.
It stands for Large Language Model Operations. Basically, all the processes and tools you need to manage and deploy these powerful language models.
So what kind of tools are we talking about?
Well, the report specifically mentions Nvidia DGX Cloud and Inference Microservices, or NIM.
And these tools are making it easier for companies to adopt AI.
Much easier. They can launch things like copilots, knowledge assistants, and other custom AI applications without having to build the entire infrastructure themselves.
That's huge. So it's not just about basic AI anymore. Companies can access advanced capabilities like decision optimization and simulation right out of the box.
And it's all running on GPU-accelerated infrastructure, which is incredibly powerful.
So AI is becoming more accessible and more powerful at the same time. That's exciting.
Definitely. And there's another trend we need to talk about, which is the expanding role of simulation.
We already talked about digital twins, but it sounds like simulation is becoming even more important.
It's not just about modeling physical things anymore. It's about creating a platform for collaboration.
A virtual space where different teams can work together.
Exactly. And the report highlights Nvidia Omniverse as a key technology for this. It integrates seamlessly with all sorts of design and operations tools.
So teams can collaborate in real time, in a shared virtual environment.
Yeah. Think about it. Engineers and manufacturers can work together on a product design before anything physical is even built.
They can identify problems early on, reduce the number of design iterations they need, and improve coordination between teams.
It leads to faster decision-making, lower risk, and better outcomes overall.
So simulation is becoming a powerful tool for collaboration and innovation.
Absolutely. But even with all these advancements, there's still one big challenge that companies are facing.
What's that?
Deploying custom AI models into production.
Getting them to actually work in the real world.
Right. It's becoming easier to fine-tune these powerful models, but getting them to run reliably and efficiently at scale is still a major hurdle.
So what are the sticking points?
Well, teams are still struggling with things like performance optimization.
Making sure the AI runs smoothly and quickly.
Right. And then there's latency. You want near real-time responses from your AI, so you need to minimize any delays.
Makes sense.
And then you've got to worry about hardware compatibility, making sure the AI works with your existing infrastructure.
And of course, there's security. You need to protect your data in your AI models.
It's a lot to manage, and the key takeaway here is that production readiness requires serious investment. You need the right people and the right infrastructure to make it work.
Just having the tools to build the AI isn't enough. You need the expertise to deploy it effectively.
Exactly. Okay, one last area we need to cover before we wrap up.
What's that?
Multimodal AI and its impact on creative work.
This is where AI starts to get really creative, right?
Absolutely. Multimodal AI is about understanding and generating different kinds of data, like text, images, and video altogether.
And this is changing how creative work gets done.
It's transforming it. There are tools like Nvidia Picasso, Adobe Firefly, and even open source diffusion models that can generate amazing things.
Like what?
Product visuals, videos, 3D assets, social media content, you name it.
And you can create all of this from simple text prompts.
Pretty much. It's incredible. And platforms like Runway ML, Canva, and Synthesia are making it possible to scale this creative power.
So companies can generate high-quality content faster and easier than ever before.
Exactly. It's speeding up campaign cycles, allowing for hyper-personalization, and making creativity accessible to everyone.
So it sounds like the future of creative work is going to be heavily influenced by AI.
No doubt about it.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today. What are the big takeaways from Bain's analysis of GTC?
Well, I think the main message is that AI is growing up. It's moving from theory to practice, becoming an integral part of how businesses operate and compete.
And for our listeners, the key things to remember are the importance of data, the shift towards specialized AI models, the need for structure in agentic AI, the practical applications of digital twins and video analytics, the rise of off-the-shelf tools for LLMOps, the collaborative power of simulation, the challenges of deploying custom models, and the creative potential of multimodal AI.
It's a lot to take in, but it's all incredibly exciting.
It really is. And as AI continues to evolve, the real competitive advantage might not be about creating the most sophisticated models.
It's going to be about how you integrate those models into your business.
How you make them work seamlessly with your existing systems and workflows.
And how you use them to drive real, measurable value.
So for everyone listening, think about what your organization needs to do to not just adopt AI, but to master it.
What skills do you need to develop? What infrastructure do you need to put in place?
Those are the questions that will determine your success in the age of AI.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the future of AI.
It's been a pleasure.